Hello and welcome to Dream Team Coach TV, brought to you by Betway. I'm Sean Burke. Joining me is Andy Taylor, Jack Townsend and Nick Elliott. Coming up on this week's show.
It's not very good psychology, is it? Yeah. Right, let's just throw this game so we can finish seconds.
How do you mime breaking lockdown?
Yeah, that would be it.
Man of the match in the Champions League final to come in at left back.
What, Kante?
Well, second.
You can keep this in the show as well.
Yeah.
And the neighbours keep leaving their here as well and never picking it up. I've got your packages, knock around.
I mean, it doesn't quite roll off the tongue in the same way, but try and get that
Really
going.
catchy. Get that in the back of a jersey. It's a big one today as England face Scotland in the Euros. And this time, Scotland is invading England as they come all the way to Wembley. They had more trouble with the Czechs than Gary Barlow's accountants, but I think they'll be raring to go as they face the old enemy. But as I said, it is in Wembley, just like, if I'm correct, all of England's group games. Is that an unfair advantage?
Well, I mean, it's not. This isn't like the first time there's ever been a host nation. You know, did England have an unfair advantage in 1966? Probably. Did France have an unfair advantage in 1998? Someone's got to host it.
Yeah, well, I guess because this tournament is spread out across countries.
Some people have had it a lot worse, isn't it? I mean, Wales got to go Baku, Italy, Baku in like 8 days or something. So there's no actual host nation, but because we've got the semis and the final, we're kind of the most likely to. So yeah, that's just how it works, lads. It has to be somewhere.
But looking forward to the game that's happening today. I mean, England v Scotland. Do you think? I mean, Scotland started off with a disappointing result against the Czech Republic, I'd say. But do you think they'll be raring to go for a game against the old geographical rivals?
Biggest issue for me, I'm going to get it off my chest, was I went round to friends for the first game, little barbecue around there, and we had the awful situation of the neighbours' stream was about 20 seconds in front of ours.
Oh, no.
So the game was just ruined because every time we went forward, we were like, well, we've not heard a celebration. So I know nothing's coming. I know nothing's happening here. You know, like my life was in their hands, essentially. They could have celebrated and we hadn't scored and I would have thought it was a goal. That's the biggest talking point for me today is I'm going around again and apparently the neighbours are out.
My housemate had said the exact same thing, Andy. When I was out the other day, he was watching a match and one of the neighbours obviously had like the back doors open and was blaring the match and they were about a minute ahead. So this is...
I don't know what you do.
It's a modern day concern. Just why aren't our streams synchronized? I think
it's because some people have linked up to aerials, but I feel like not many of us are in the aerial business. You know, like the younger generation, we're all on iPlayer and, you know, like streaming and stuff like that. So we're just naturally behind. But if you've got someone switched on and plugged into the aerial,
the old-fashioned way. Yeah, are you excited for the match? You think it's going to be a pushover?
I don't think it'll push. I thought Scotland were quite good against Czech Republic. I thought they were probably a better team. It's just that Schick was like a huge difference. Scotland couldn't score. I don't know. Well, I mean, Declan Rice has already stoked the fire, hasn't it? It's saying like it's going to potentially be the biggest game of some of Scotland players' careers. The only thing I thought about the Scotland game, watching the Czech Republic one, is there's such a huge difference between their best players and their worst players. So like Robertson and left back, amazing, so good. And then I think it was O'Donnell at right back. I don't want to dig one player out, but like in the first half hour, he just had the ball at his feet by the touchline, somehow backheeled it straight behind him for a throw in. He like body checked his own player, Ryan Christie, when he was like dribbling through into the box. So like his literal only two contributions were kind of unnecessarily negative towards his own team. And I feel like the bigger teams like England have a more even spread between their best player and their worst player, whereas Scotland, yeah, they've got their Premier League contingent, McTominay, McGinn, Robertson, pretty decent, but your man from Motherwell is quite a big weak link.
I mean, the biggest difference for me is when you just look at the strikers. So we've got Harry Kane and they've got Lyndon Dykes. You know, don't get me wrong, I think he scored double figures in the Championship last year, but I mean, it's the Championship. And I think that's where it really stands out. I mean, I don't mind their midfield. I think McTominay and McGinn, don't mind it. Even defensively, I mean, I actually thought Grant Hanley looked really good. It's just that forward line. I think that was, you just didn't fancy him when they got into the final third, did you? So I just think it will be a tight, cagey affair. I can't see them scoring any, but I just don't see us going all out attack either. I think Southgate is going to be nervous of he just knows if he doesn't win this, that's a real embarrassing situation. So I think he will be a little bit cagey.
Do you think he starts the same lineup? What do you think there'll be any changes?
He's got to play a left back at left back, hasn't he, for starters? I think.
Yeah, that's the only thing I think he'll. I think the main reason Trippier was there is because he wanted a bit of experience in defence against the supposedly stronger opponent. But for this one, in theory, especially as I said, because Scotland's right back had an absolute shocker in the last one, you think, okay, that could be an area we could get at them.
Well, I mean, we've got arguably man of the match in the Champions League final to come in at left back.
What, Kante?
Well, second to Kante. I mean, Chilwell, he's got to be up there, right? He was unbelievable.
Chilwell was amazing in the Champions League final, yeah. But him or I think I would like him or Shaw, especially to say how dodgy Scotland looked down the right.
The good thing is, whatever the decision he made worked and got the result.
Well, I think, I mean, you're right, isn't that, I found it a bit weird how many people were complaining about the lineup before the game had even started. It's a bit like Southgate out was trending before kickoff. It's like,
my God, come on.
What happens if, as we were heavily expected to do, we win the game? You look at going back and looking at, like the top liked comment on the England team thing is something like, Phillips and Sterling, ? It's like two best players on the day.
Yeah.
That aged quickly. I've seen a few people talking about, obviously, if England finish top of their group, they'll play, who is it? The first place from the group of the so-called group of death.
Second place
from that. So that'll be either, presumably, France, Germany, or Portugal. So some people are saying they'd rather English finish second and avoid that. Would that mean playing the teams from a different group?
Yes, so that would be the Spain, Sweden, Poland group.
Would you agree with that? I mean, it would be a better draw for you, but I feel like you're just going to have to play those teams eventually.
Obviously, no one wants to play to lose because that's where's the momentum in that, and it's not very good psychology, is it? Yeah, right. Let's just throw this game so we can finish seconds. I can just imagine karma just kicking you in the face there. I've heard as an opinion is if we beat Scotland and we're going into that third group game, why not at that opportunity play some of the players that are coming back from injury or are not necessarily the starters, but I don't know. It would just be it could be a good opportunity to try new players out, but not playing to lose.
I think you play a completely different 11 because you're resting your main players, you're giving them vital experience because you might need to call upon them in the knockouts, whether it's suspensions or injuries. And if they lose, well, that's great. I think you play to win with a second string team, but ultimately, I think I think it's really weird if we don't put out a second string team, to be honest.
Obviously, we did in 2018, whether deliberately or accidentally, we lost to Belgium in the last group game with even Trent Alexander-Arnold got a game in that one, so it must have been a second string Southgate team.
Sorry, lads, there's somebody at the door.
No worries.
What was it?
Just a package. My housemates get honestly like 4 deliveries a day. It's infuriating, and I'm the only one who's here constantly. You can keep this in the show as well. And the neighbours keep leaving their here as well and never picking it up. Oh, I've got your packages. Knock around. They've been here days.
Say we do end up playing Portugal in the round of 16 and you win. Does that, does that motivation of beating a team that could have been a finalist, will that help you actually in the long run after that? Because then who have you got to fear after that? Okay, yeah, maybe France in the very end, but if you've already beaten a strong team in the round of 16, whereas if you're already running scared of teams and you're trying to get yourself a weaker draw, then you might already be kind of admitting defeat.
I genuinely don't think it matters how you get there, and I would just rather us keep progressing because I don't want us to go anywhere near any of the big sides because we are going to lose. There's no way. There is absolutely no way we're doing Portugal. Ronaldo, Jota, and Bruno against Stones and Mings. It's not happening. It just isn't happening. And again, Mbappe, and I'm not knocking Stones and Mings, by the way. That's just, there's not many centre-half. I don't think Chiellini and Bonucci could handle those two. I just think you just don't want to play them. But if you get to the latter stages, maybe there's a few injuries knocking about. Maybe we get the rub of the green. Someone scores a worldie for us. We hang on to a 1-0. I just want to avoid them at all costs. So, to be honest, I'm happy for us just to boycott that last game.
It's not all chat this week, as we've prepared another picture challenge for our panel. I've removed the ball from several photos of goals from Euros tournaments over the years. All you guys have to do is guess where the ball is. Ready? Okay. Picture 1 coming up.
Did you do the Photoshop on this, Sean?
I did, yeah.
Just looking for any dodgy Photoshop work as well.
Oh yeah.
I can see.
Yeah. Oh, stuck my answer.
Can reveal the correct answer was B. And those mistakes were on purpose. You fell for it. Oh, Sean, your Photoshop's so bad. Think again. Flawless.
Wow, that's great work.
Thank you. Did you even notice the guy who's cut in half in the middle?
Oh yeah.
Box E.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. That's Gary Neville with no head. His head's he's lost it a few times.
Stitched up. Okay, Nick, I have to take your first answer. Oh, your first answer was correct.
Yeah.
So, good fair play. That actually worked out for once.
Yeah,
Oh, nice one. I like that, Sean.
Okay, photo 2. Here we go.
Remember this dog.
Okay, I've got all your answers now. And I'm afraid you're all wrong in this case. It was H.
What did everyone else go for?
I got an E and I got a
B.
But yeah,
And
drilled it hard and low, little daisy cutter in this case. Right, next up is quite recent. I feel like you might fare better with this one. Picture 3. Patrick, shik, ya booty.
It's one of two in there.
Okay, I've gotten all your answers now. And yet again, you were all wrong. It was in box D.
I've seen another one from like the same angle where it's like pretty much top left of A.
You put another red herring in there as well.
I did, yeah, in A.
I was like, surely that was just to throw us off the scent.
Only one person has gotten a point so far, Nick, and even he tried to change that answer. Well, at the moment, Nick is leading by a hefty 1 point to everybody else's 0. We're going to go back to the football chat for now, so stick around to see what happens. Every tournament has its standout players, people who really put their stamp on proceedings, or Xabi Alonso's chest if you're Nigel de Jong in 2010. As of recording, every team has now played at least one match, so we can start to see some potential standouts. Nick, any dream team points grabbers popping up?
Well, yeah, a few surprising ones. I mean, obviously, there's only one midfielder who's reached double digits at the time of recording, and that's Calvin Phillips. And you thought you were going to try and let me go through the first section without having a Calvin Phillips section, but I'm afraid you're wrong because I've brought it into this one. And I am wearing my Bielsa t-shirt today, just in case you can't see. And I'm a bit annoyed that all of you aren't wearing your Bielsa t-shirts either. I mean, I know Sterling got the
Leeds mug.
Yes, yeah, decent.
That's
I know Sterling got the star of the match or whatever it's called in the sponsorship thing, but Calvin Phillips won the fan voted one. I think he was definitely best player. And obviously, you know, the Yorkshire Pirlo as a nickname, it's never really fit because that isn't actually how he plays. He's more like the Yorkshire Gattuso. But against Croatia, it was kind of pass like Pirlo, tackle like Gattuso, dribble like Kaka. So I'm going to try and start calling him the Yorkshire entire Milan midfield of 2004. I mean, it doesn't quite roll off the tongue in the same way, but try and get that
really
going.
Catchy. Get that in the back of a jersey.
But anyway, in dream team points, well, Patrick Schick, he's the equal top scorer in the game alongside Ronaldo and Lukaku, who are obviously two really popular forwards. I thought Schick was probably the best player all round in the first. If you look at actually who's impacted the game, like who was the one player who was the difference between the two teams, Scotland had all the chances, couldn't score, and Czech Republic had someone who could score from 50 yards. And so, yeah, he's. But again, it's kind of hard to say. Should you bring him into your dream team's Euros team? Is he going to do that against England and Croatia? Probably not. But yeah, if anyone took a punt on him in the first round, then fair play. Because the last time I saw of him, he couldn't hit a barn door for Roma. So,
well, as we've been talking about, Dream Team Euros is available to play. It's not too late. You can set up a mini league with your mates, get involved. It's a great way to accompany this summer's tournament, not least because it's free to play and there's £50,000 jackpot up for grabs.
Before we move on, I don't know if it's worth talking about, but for the Scotland game, I was just wondering if it was worth discussing what the modern day version of the dentist chair celebration might be for if Phil Foden scores or something.
What do you think of Foden going for the Gazza blonde? Like it's at a Euros, it's quite a statement, isn't it? It's quite saying I'm going to be the.
I like it. I don't mind it. It's not. I mean, I don't think I'd see myself rocking it. But I think when you're a player of his ability, you can do what you want. That's all. I'll always say. Like if there's a player in League Two that's doing it, and he's got the Barnet and he's walking around with a Lamborghini and he's playing for like Crawley, that's where I'll have my issues. Whereas if Ronaldo turns up in a Lamborghini and a Barnet in his pants, I don't mind that. You have earned that right. There's a line for me in football where if you earn it, you can do whatever you want. And I think Foden's on that level.
Here we go. So let's go through the players that have had this Barnet. So currently Mahrez has it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes or no?
Yeah,
warranted.
do what he wants. Yeah, do what he wants.
Messi?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. He can do
obviously.
what he wants. Yeah.
Aguero, as you said, yes.
Does what he wants, yeah.
What about Aaron Ramsey?
Yeah, I mean,
questionable.
Doesn't necessarily does what he wants, but I can't question Aaron Ramsey's career. I mean, he's playing for Juventus at the moment, and he's had a pretty successful career.
Yeah. Well, Granit Xhaka's done it as well, hasn't he?
So. There's a slight line could be drawn there. holding midfielder in a really bang average mid-table Arsenal side.
If we all just stay very still, take your headphones off for 1 second. We will then have a competition to see who will look best with the Gazza haircut. Who do we reckon is going to pull it off? That's the question. I mean, Andy fancies himself.
Yeah.
Even though he's a defender.
Just once, I want to see a manager rock up to a tournament with a blonde Barnet, Just to really stir the pot. Imagine Gareth Southgate came out like silver hair and didn't mention it.
Can we get into the press office somehow and go ask Gareth if they win the Euros, can he get the Gazza cut? That would be. Nice. I mean, it would be warranted then, wouldn't it? It would be warranted.
Yeah. The only thing with Foden is that if Mahrez dyes his hair yellow, no one's going to be like, oh, I'm going to directly compare your next performance to Gazza versus Scotland in '96 because the link isn't there. But Foden's done it at a Euros when we're playing Scotland. He's welcoming comparisons to one of the most famous goals in English football history. That's the thing that's different is if he has a shocker now against Scotland, it's always going to be compared to because he's welcoming a comparison to a game which is really hard to live up to, which I think admirable. That's what I'm saying. It's a bit different for him. Like admirable confidence to say, oh yeah, remember that one of the most famous goals in English football history. I'm gonna voluntarily present myself as a comparison to that for this tournament, which is a lot of confidence for a young player.
He's probably met Gazza and all that sort of stuff. I think it's more just a celebration of Gazza rather than a comparison. So I don't mind it.
I think that is from his point of view. But I think he knows if you do that, it's unavoidable, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
But imagine if it pays off and he scores a eerily similar goal. That would be like the most perfect thing ever.
Well, Jack, you mentioned the dentist chair celebration. So you must have what the equivalent would be if we do score against Scotland. I
mean, probably some that I don't think I could mention. I think the modern day football gets pulled up for drink driving or,
sort of Grealish doing that.
Yeah.
Someone else could be driving Grealish and he's just in the back.
He's in the back like.
How do you mime breaking lockdown?
Yeah, that would be it. That's definitely
they're just opening the door and sneaking out the back and
really elaborate kind of stage show.
All right, when we last left it, Nick was leading by 1 point in our picture game. Let's see what happens. Any more red herrings from me? Let's find out. Final photo. It's from, I believe, Euro 2012.
You went incredibly Irish. So.
I did there. 2012.
It was to us.
Thank you, Graz. I have been redeemed for the Fabian Barthez debacle.
It was a debacle as well.
Well, I can reveal the correct answer was D, which Andy got, but also Nick got. Oh, hard luck, Andy. So close. Finally got a point. Nick, you are our winner with 2 points to 1 to 0. Hard luck, Jack. Yeah, I've made a tiebreaker as well that I want to share anyway, because it's kind of different and it took me, well, I spent too long on it, basically.
Can this be golden goal?
Yeah, if you can get this right in one, I don't know, is that fair? I don't know.
Yeah, that's definitely fair.
Yeah, okay. If you can get this right in one, you win outright. Which one of these is the real ball? So there are 13 balls there in total.
I feel like 1 and 4 are out the question.
Jack, just waiting on you now.
I know. I just so want to win.
I don't have it numbered in a photo, but the correct answer is ball number 7, which Nick got right off the bat. Fair play. Incredible show. Fair play. Yeah. Congratulations, Nick. You are the winner of this week's picture round, and deservedly so. Even got the tiebreaker. Well, that's all from us, folks. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Dream Team Coach TV, brought to you by Betway. And don't forget, you can still get involved in the Dream Team Euros game. And on that subject, what are your teams called? Let us know in the comments below. Take care, and we'll see you again next time.